Part 1. The night I chose not to die. I was 14 the night I left. People say, ran away, like it's dramatic, like it's rebellion. It wasn't that. I wasn't rebelling. I was escaping. Our trailer in rural Ohio had 3 rooms. One for my parents, one for my 2 little brothers, and a living room where I slept on a sagging futon that smelled like old dog pee and cigarettes. Every night, my dad drank. Every morning, he yelled, sometimes at the TV, sometimes at me. Once, he broke a toaster over my shoulder because I made the wrong kind of toast. My mom? She wasn't mean, just gone. Always tired, always smoking, always staring past me. I didn't cry anymore. I'd use up my cry quota by 12. But that night, that one specific Tuesday in November, that night, he threw my sketchbook in the fire. I had drawn for months, pages and pages of designs, ideas for apps, gadgets, even a vending machine for hot burritos I thought could change gas stations forever. He looked at one page, didn't say a word, and tossed it into the fireplace. This ain't worth sh*T. Get a job, Leo. And that was it. That was the switch. Not rage, not rebellion, just silence. I waited until they were asleep. 1:42 a.m. I packed my school bag with $67.25 I'd saved from mowing lawns, 2 Pop-Tarts, a hoodie I stole from Goodwill, my mom's old Android phone, a USB with every file I'd ever created. I left a note on the fridge. It just said, I'm not dead. I'm not coming back. Please feed the dog. I walked 9 miles in the cold with frozen hands and no plan until I reached the Greyhound station. I bought a one-way ticket to Chicago. Why Chicago? Because it was the only city I knew from movies that wasn't New York or LA. The woman behind the counter raised an eyebrow. You traveling alone? Elite. My uncle's picking me up at the terminal. She shrugged, gave me the ticket. That lie? That tiny lie? It saved me. Because when you're 14, alone, dirty, and scared, sometimes all you have is the lies you tell to keep going. The bus ride took 8 hours. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I just stared out the window and made a promise to myself. I'm going to build something. I don't know what yet, but I'm going to make people know my name. Not to be famous, but to never feel invisible again. Part 3. Chicago smelled like metal and electricity. When I stepped off the bus, it was snowing lightly. The city felt alien, loud, mechanical. I wandered downtown for hours, hungry, shivering. Then I found it. A tiny 24-hour internet cafe squeezed between a vape shop and a laundromat. The sign just said, Net Time. I walked in, and the warmth hit me like a drug. Behind the counter was a man in a Bulls jersey, buzz-cut, gold tooth. He glanced at me. You buying time or selling skills? That sentence still rings in my brain to this day. I didn't know what he meant, but I answered. I can fix computers. He motioned to a broken desktop behind the counter. Blue screen. No boot. Fix it. 10 minutes. I did in 5. He grunted. You homeless? I nodded. You steal? No. You lie. Only when I have to. He smiled. You'll do. And that's how I met Tony Zerobyte Gonzalez. My first mentor, my first employer, and possibly the first adult who didn't look at me like I was trash. He let me sleep in the basement. Paid me $5 per hour under the table. Gave me access to every machine in the shop after midnight. He also gave me a warning. You're smart, but smart ain't rare. What's rare is someone who keeps building when no one's watching. So I built. I reverse engineered basic Python tools. I taught myself HTML and CSS from cache pages. I made my first landing page for a fake app called Sleepless, a productivity tracker that didn't even work, but looked real as hell. I posted on Reddit. It got 26 upvotes. It felt like a standing ovation. I was 15 when I made my first real money online. It wasn't legal. It wasn't moral. But it was mine. Tony had a rule. Don't be stupid. Don't be greedy. Don't get caught. I broke the first 2, but not the third. Not yet. It started with a Reddit thread. Someone asked, is there a way to auto-buy limited sneakers before they sell out? I didn't know the answer, but I pretended I did. Yeah, I built a tool for that. Works for SNKRS drops. DM me. I didn't have anything, but I stayed up all night learning how sneaker bots worked. By 6 a.m., I had a clunky Python script that could ping a product page and simulate a checkout request. No fancy UI, just raw code. I called it Fast Kick, posted screenshots, fake testimonials, charged $50 per copy via PayPal. First guy paid within 3 minutes. Second guy within 10. By Sunday night, I had $1,200 sitting in my account. More money than I'd ever seen in one place. I walked into a diner and ordered chicken and waffles with extra syrup. The waitress smiled. Celebrating something, honey? Yeah, I said. First day of the rest of my life. I devoured that plate like it was victory itself. But it wasn't just about the money. Tony caught wind of what I was doing. He didn't yell. He didn't threaten me. He sat me down, lit a menthol, and said, "So you can code dirty. That's good. Now, learn to code clean." That was the first time I heard about ethical hacking, white hat work, and bug bounty programs. I went deep. I spent months learning how exploits worked, how XSS and SQL injections could take down entire databases, how companies would pay you just to find vulnerabilities. At 16, I submitted my first bug bounty to a mid-sized fintech startup. They paid me $300. Legit, wire transfer, tax form, and everything. I printed the receipt, taped it above my mattress. I stared at it every night like it was scripture. One day, while working night shift at net time, a guy in a Patagonia vest walked in, tapping furiously on his MacBook. "The site's down. I need internet. Fast." I gave him a booth, brought him coffee, watched him curse at code for 2 hours. On the way out, he said, "You know React?" I did. Barely. Enough to nod. "You want a shot?" Real dev work. His name was Ben, CTO of a small startup doing AI-powered food delivery predictions. Total burn rate, $80,000 per month. Team of 3. No front-end dev. I took the chance. No resume. No degree. No ID. But I built their dashboard in 2 weeks. Then optimized their payment flow. Then redesigned their onboarding. Ben said, "You're a ghost, man. Nobody knows who you are, and you just get SH*T done." I became their secret weapon. Contract work, $2,000 per month. I moved out of Tony's basement into a shared apartment with 4 college dropouts who lived off Soylent and Adderall. Then the startup folded. VCs pulled out. Burn rate burned everything. I got an email at 2 a.m. from Ben. "Sorry, kid. We're out. You're on your own again. Back to zero." But I wasn't the same kid who ran away. This time I had code, confidence, connections, and a chip on my shoulder. So I decided to build my own thing. The idea came in a laundromat. I watched a woman get into a fight because someone took her clothes out mid-wash. I thought, there has to be a better way to manage shared washers. So I built it. Spin Cycle, a simple app that lets people reserve machines and notifies them when cycles finish. No login, no payment, just QR codes and timers. I posted it on Product Hunt, got 50 upvotes. But the next morning, Lifehacker wrote a piece. Team builds genius app to end laundromat rage. Downloads exploded. I added a $3 per month pro plan just for fun. Within 30 days, I was making $8,200 per month. That's when I realized I don't need to work for anyone. I can build problems worth solving. I hadn't spoken to my parents in almost 3 years. We weren't estranged, more like emotionally bankrupt. They'd spent most of my childhood trying to fix a version of me that never existed. Therapists, boot camps, cold silences. When I left, I promised I'd never look back. But blood has strange gravity. It pulls when you least expect it. It was a cold Friday night in October when I got a weird text from an unknown number. "Your dad's in trouble. Call home." I ignored it. Then another came. "They took him. They're coming for her next. Don't be stupid." I sat frozen in my chair, hands hovering over my laptop keyboard. I tried to shake it off. Probably spam or a bad prank. But then I checked my mom's Facebook. Last post, heading to the cabin for a quiet weekend. No signal, but peace at last. That cabin, up in the Catskills. No cell service. No neighbors. A gut instinct kicked in. That dark whisper you don't question. I jumped into my car and drove 8 hours straight through the night. When I got there, everything was too quiet. No lights, no dog barking, no tire tracks except mine. The cabin door was ajar. Inside, overturned furniture, a broken wine glass, a single shoe near the fireplace, and then a sound, metal dragging on wood. I ducked behind the kitchen island, heart pounding in my ears. Two men, masked, armed, speaking in low tones. We wait for the wife. The husband's tied up downstairs. They were professionals, calm, precise, probably ex-military. And I was just a kid with caffeine and trauma. But I also had something else. Everything I'd ever built. I bolted outside and connected to my laptop via mobile tethering. Set up my old fast kickbot to ping the nearest sheriff station's silent alarm API. Spoofed a distress signal from inside the cabin. And I did something reckless. I went back inside. I found my dad in the basement, tied to a chair, blood on his temple, barely conscious. "Dad, it's me." He blinked, could barely focus. "You? You shouldn't be here. Neither should they." I cut him loose just as one of the men came downstairs. I hit him with a shovel. Twice. We dragged my dad behind the tool shed out back. I gave him my phone, told him to wait. I went back for my mother. She arrived an hour later, oblivious. They were waiting. I wasn't. I'd rigged the front porch lights to blind them the moment they opened the door, then blasted a speaker with the sound of sirens. They panicked, ran, straight into the arms of the real sheriff's unit I'd called in earlier. "Why would they come after you?" I asked my dad. He looked away. "Debt," he muttered. "I thought I could fix it." I didn't know how bad it was. He'd borrowed money from the wrong people. Not for luxury, but for my mom's medical treatments. She never told me she had early-stage Parkinson's. All this time, they were just trying to survive like I was. That night, we all sat together for the first time in years. No yelling, no fixing, just quiet and apologies. I realized then, you don't choose your past, but you can choose to show up when it counts. And for the first time, I didn't feel like a runaway anymore. I felt like someone who came home.